Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Kaden's Kitchen. My name is Kaden LeDuc, and on this episode we've got a more time-consuming dish than the previous two. However, this might be the tastiest thing that has been on this segment yet. I promise you that. If there's a dish from this show for you to make, I think this is the one. It's not difficult. It's simple ingredients. It is a little bit lengthy and time-consuming, but for the most part, it's an easy, fun dish to make, and I really recommend it. It is a homemade, from scratch beef stew. I'm very excited for this. If you are a vegetarian or vegan, then you could just do a vegetable stew. Just cut the steak out entirely and use vegetable stock instead of beef stock. If you don't like beef, you could do a chicken stew and just cut out, cut out the beef, use chicken instead, chicken stock. And I think it would be just as tasty, just as delicious either way. And of course, as the last episode was, this recipe is also gluten-free. I'm using all-purpose gluten-free flour to thicken the stew instead of all-purpose regular flour. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this segment. Thank you for all the support so far, and let's get to the video. So what you're going to need for the stew is our beef broth, our gluten-free all-purpose flour, 2 cans of tomato paste, your protein, I'm going to use eye of round steak, and then some dried thyme, dried chives, dried parsley, 2 small Yukon Gold potatoes, diced, large diced. You could also use 1 russet potato because they're bigger, 1 onion whole, diced, some baby carrots, and then 2 celery ribs that are medium diced, and then garlic cloves, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and our fresh mushrooms. You could use any type of mushrooms for this. So after you wash and cut all your vegetables, the first thing you're going to want to do is to dice up your protein. The steak I'm using, I've already done that, but just a disclaimer, please be sure to wash your hands. Not just because of what's going on right now in the world, but because, raw meat and vegetables, cross-contamination's not fun. Food poisoning's not fun, guys. If you've ever had food poisoning, you know that. So, wash your hands. After you dice your steak, heat 2 tablespoons of olive oil over low heat in a large stock pot. Once the oil is heated, add your steak to the stock pot, and we're going to season that with, of course, salt and pepper. As the great Chef Bevan once said, sea salt is the difference between making money in this business and not. Well, not just sea salt, salt in general, but you get the point. So we're going to want to keep cooking the steak on a lower to medium heat because we want to get it evenly browned. We don't want it to really cook all the way because this is going to be going for a long time, so we don't want it to overcook and become tough at the end. So yeah, just low to medium heat and give it a little stir with a wooden spoon. Make sure it's nice and evenly salted and peppered, and allow the oil to work its magic. So because the steak is cut so small, it's really not going to take that long to cook at all. It should be like 6 to 8 minutes. And at this point, when the steak is nice and evenly browned, we are going to add our onion, our celery, and our baby carrots. And now onion, celery, carrots all together, that's called a mirepoix. But this is not a mirepoix because a mirepoix is used to usually make stocks. This is just veggies that are going in a stew. I'm going to stir this around, allow that to coat with the juices from the steak as well as the oil from the pan. And we're going to allow this to cook and just become a little bit tender with the vegetables. Should be about 4 to 5 minutes. Please do not be afraid to use your masterful seasoning skill and continue to salt these vegetables. I added a spoonful of butter just for some richness. You don't have to do that, but I think it really, it allows more flavor to build, and it'll thicken it just a tiny bit, just to from where the oil was at the beginning, and it'll allow the carrot, celery, and onion to absorb the juices from the steak as well as that butter, and it'll allow the steak to take more flavor from the salt and from the butter itself. After a few minutes, once our vegetables begin to tenderize, we are going to add in our mushrooms and 3 cloves of minced garlic. It should be about a half of a tablespoon. I got it off, didn't I? Yep, there we go. And of course, we are going to just Give this a stir, allow those mushrooms to coat, allow the garlic to really bleed into everything in there, because who doesn't love a nice... I love garlic, honestly, in just about anything, any savory dish. Garlic really brings out a lot of flavor, has a strong flavor itself, so you don't want to use too much, but at the same time, butter, garlic, salt, it all goes together, it all seasons everything really well. And this stew is in its early stages still, but I'm liking how it's coming together. Next, once the mushrooms are nice and cooked, we are going to add in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. It's sticking, it's sticking, it's sticking, it's sticking. I managed to get the 2 tablespoons of tomato paste in there. And then after the tomato paste, you're going to add in 3 tablespoons of the all-purpose gluten-free flour. Now, you can use regular flour, but I like gluten-free stuff, so we're going to go with the gluten-free flour. So once you add the flour, just be sure to continue to stir. The flour and the tomato paste is going to start to thicken up this, well, it's more of a stock right now, I suppose. But once it's all thickened up, we're going to be good to go. Next, stir in 2 cups of beef stock. I already added 1 cup earlier. So 2 cups of beef stock, and just let that start to stir. It's going to get thick and nice. And then after the beef stock, we're going to add in a few sprigs of thyme, of our dried thyme, and then a little bit of our dried chives. So at this point, all we're going to do right now is wait for about 30 minutes for our steak to become nice and tender. At this point, make sure you're cooking it on a low heat and don't be afraid to taste. At this point, you just have 30 minutes to just chill and do whatever you want to do, like sleep. Alright, so the stew is getting pretty thick. It's in stew form, so all that's left to do is add our raw potatoes that are diced. We're going to stir those in, and then we're going to let these potatoes get to cooking, basically. It's going to be about 20 minutes on the potatoes, and once that will happen, we'll be ready to eat. Alright, so we've let our stew simmer. Our potatoes are pretty much cooked all the way through, so now all that's left for us to do is allow the stew to start to thicken up a little bit more, and we will be ready to plate and serve and eat. That's the fun part. What do you think, Soy? Are you excited for this stew? I don't think you care very much. No. Oh, no, okay. And here's the final product, guys. My homemade from scratch, gluten-free beef stew. I'm very excited about this. It's looking really good, looking very fresh. Yeah, let's dig in. So just one quick thing before I taste that I wish I would have done a little bit differently. It's not very major, it's just a tip. Maybe use chopped carrots, like bigger carrots instead of baby carrots. I just think that, one, they cook better, become a little bit softer. These are soft, but they're not as soft as I wish they were. But other than that, I think this is a pretty solid recipe. I'll link the recipe in the description, and yeah, I'm really excited about this. So let's dig in and give this stew a try. It's very hot right now, so I actually might have to wait. But you know, all good things come to those who wait, I suppose. All right. That is very good. It's seasoned very nicely. The potatoes are nice and soft. Great texture of the steak is very, very tender. The celery, the carrots have all really come together really well. It does taste very fresh. You can definitely taste the thyme. You can taste the parsley. I think it's really good. This is definitely a recipe for you guys to try. This is definitely that I would recommend. It's very flavorful. It's vegetable. It's a lot of vegetables. The most unhealthy thing about it is probably the spoonful of butter that I put in, and you don't even have to do that. So I definitely would recommend trying this. It's healthy. It's fresh. Gets you your vegetables, your starches, your protein all at once. And like I said, very, very, very good amount of flavor. It's seasoned very well. And it's a little time consuming, but I mean, we've all got a lot of time right now. So I'd definitely recommend making this at home. And if you don't want to do a beef stew, you could do a pork stew. You could do just a vegetable stew with like vegetable stock, anything like that. It's very, very. I think it'll be a big hit to anybody you serve it to. And yourself. It'll be a big hit to yourself because it's very good, and I'm definitely going to have more later. But for right now, that'll be it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this. Thank you so much for all the continued support of Wrestling With My Appetite and Kaden's Kitchen. Hopefully this episode was a joy to watch to you all. Thanks to everybody that has shared, commented, liked, all that stuff. It's been fun. It's a lot of fun, and I'll be here in the kitchen again next Thursday, making something for everybody. There'll be an episode of Wrestling With My Appetite on Monday, and yeah. So again, thank you guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you'd like to do. Dislike if you want. If you don't like, if you try the recipe, let me know. And you know, it's well worth it. It's one of the recipes that is well worth it. Of the 3 recipes so far, of the stew, the sandwich, and the pasta, the ravioli, I'd say do the sandwich, do the stew, and then the ravioli. Maybe don't do that one because I wasn't a huge fan of it. But if you are a fan of the ravioli, of that episode, or just the dish in general, and try that out, that's fine too. But like I said, I'm going to sign off now. Thanks everybody for watching. I will see you next Thursday. Hope everyone has a great day, great night, great week. Wash your hands. Stay safe. See you later, guys.